Centauro, the channel that brings you all things Doma Vaquera from beautiful Andalusia, Spain, Dos Hermanas to be exact. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Mika Hilkema, and I'm a Doma Vaquera addict. I travel to Spain about every month to get my fix of Doma Vaquera straight from the source at the stable of Antonio Quinta. I was there about 2 weeks ago. I was actually visiting with my mom and my son this time. I always go to Antonio. Antonio is by now actually a friend of mine, but he's also former Doma Vaquera champion, multiple champion. He has an amazing facility, as you can see. This is the inside riding arena. And he built everything from scratch. It's quite amazing, his story. His stables are meticulous. The horses look amazing. I've been coming there for at least 10 years now, and what's nice to see is that almost all of the same people are still there. There's this core group that doesn't change, and I think that says a lot about a stable, and also about a trainer. So I'm going to show you some images, some video footage that I taped while I was there. I'll tell you about that in a minute. I brought my Pixio camera. I got a new Pixio camera before I left. I had never set it up myself, so I have to say it's not ideal, the footage that I made, because I didn't center the sensors, I didn't do some things right, so that's kind of annoying, and kind of a shame, because I went all the way there, and then the footage that I got is not even great. It turned out to be a little bit harder to set up, or I didn't pay attention, I don't know. So I'll be showing you footage of 2 horses I rode there. I rode 3 horses. I went for 3 days. I rode 3 horses every day. This is one of them. You've seen him before. This is Latino. He's my favorite. He's a 14-year-old dressage, crossbreed, Andalusian, thoroughbred, and Arabian. He's amazing. He can do everything. He's actually truly an amazing horse, wonderful to ride. So I'll walk you through what I do in a training session. So now, as you saw, first I warmed up just, walking with a long rein. They don't always do that in Spain. They'll pick them up quite quickly. And then I just do some trotting on a short rein. Of course, riding still with one hand. You basically, once the horses are advanced, you don't really ride with 2 hands, and especially because you ride with your curb, so you don't want to, take your curb in 2 hands. So then I'll do some trotting first to really warm them up. First, just posting trot. Not always ideal if you're not used to a Doma Vaquera saddle, because the stirrups are set quite forward, so you have to make sure, a conscious effort to keep your legs back. But once you get used to it, it's quite easy. And then I'll do some sitting trot. As you can see now, I'm doing a little bit of shoulder in, lots of lateral movements. Now, Latino has a new owner, and he's quite young, so he's not being ridden at a high level on a normal basis at the moment. Sometimes other people get to ride him because he's a pleasure to ride. He's truly a schoolmaster. So here you see I'm transitioning into a sitting trot. Again, doing some basic exercises. What I was trying to do when I was there, because he's not ridden at a higher level, an advanced level, is he doesn't bend that nice to the right. So I tried to do a lot of trafair, like you see here, some lateral movements, half pass. With the other horse, the next horse I'll ride, I'll be doing some leg yielding. But Latino has some difficulty here. I'm doing a half pass. Left is his okay side to bend, but his right hind leg is weak because he's hollow on the left, and he has difficulty bending to the right. So here you'll see, you saw he threw his hindquarters in. So now I'm doing the trafere to the right, and while he'll throw his hindquarters in because his left hind leg is quite strong, he does have a lot of difficulty with really bending through his entire body from his ears to his tail. So when I'm there, I'm really trying to, help him bend and stretch and loosen up those shorter muscles on the right, or actually strengthen those muscles on the right, because those are his longer muscles, and letting loose his muscles on the left. Here, I took my right hand to actually kind of encourage him by taking the rein to really encourage him to bend to the right, and with my inside leg trying to get him to bend around my inside leg and pushing him away from my leg. But I believe this was the first day I didn't have any spurs on. So here, just doing some figure eights, getting him to bend left and right. Again, to the left he has no problem, as you can see, when you bend to the right. Here he kind of falls in with his shoulders, and it's really hard to get him tracking, evenly with his legs divided evenly on that circle, with his inside legs on one side of the circle, if you would imagine a line, and his outside legs on the outside. So here I'm trying to push his hindquarters more out, basically trying to strengthen that right hind leg. So it's funny that you notice that, so in the beginning, if you do a training session, you don't really do, like you would normally do in dressage, do long and low. And I'm trying to find out, kind of where that comes from. If you ask, you don't really get a clear answer. It's more, it seems like, there's obviously more than one road to Rome, if you know that saying, but as long as you end up in Rome, that's the most important thing, right? So it seems like, here I'm doing some pirouettes around the hindquarters, pirouetta directa, we call that, around the hindquarters. So here's the other side. So it seems like where it's dressage, you would start with relaxation and you would build it up to the more difficult exercises. And with the Doma Vaquera, it seems like, and I haven't quite figured it out. Ooh, he thought I wanted to do a media vuelta there, and I don't, which is a 180 around the haunches. So I said, no, let's back up first, kind of, get him listening to me. And here he kind of drags that hind leg. As you can see, he's not quite straight, as strong in both hind legs. But anyway, so there's more than one way to Rome, as long as you end up in Rome. So, the Doma Vaquera horses at highest level are just as relaxed and symmetrical and balanced as your Grand Prix dressage horses are, because Doma Vaquera is a lot like dressage. It's really not much difference. It's more like dressage than it is similar to Western. Here I'm doing a pirouetta inversa around the forehand. So it's very similar, but what I'm trying to figure out, and I think I understand, is that where with Doma Vaquera, they really, they don't work towards that low and relaxed first and then build it up. They kind of start a little bit higher, but still work towards that relaxation, but it's more of a surrendering. So the end result is the same. You have a relaxed horse that's through his body. I mean, otherwise you can't do all those exercises like pirouette and canter, all the lateral movements, or things like the media vuelta, the 180 around the haunches. You can't do that. Kicked him a little because I didn't have spurs. This was the first day, and sometimes he doesn't really react to my leg, and I want him to really scissor. I want that hind leg to cross over, and that's his weak hind leg. So I had to give him a little kick there, which I'd rather not do, obviously, but he does have to listen. So it's interesting what the approach, from Doma Vaquera to dressage is, a lot of the same exercises, except we do it with one hand, and we use our leg aids a lot, and our weight aids as well, and it's a very intuitive way of riding, because of course it's a very functional way of riding. It's from riding countryside with the cattle, so you make it too complicated, and also for the horse. So the riding is much more less with your hands, obviously, because you only have one hand. So even less with your legs, as I thought. So I got some pointers from Antonio when I was there, when we were doing flying changes, where I noticed, or he noticed, that I was doing too much with my legs, and you should do more with your hands. So basically, you're getting your horse to change. You look in the direction you're going to. So when you switch directions, or switch lead, canter, in your flying change, that you then switch your weight. So really, with your shoulders, you kind of move, and that makes your horse change. And of course, by doing so, if you're looking in the direction of the, your horse is going, your legs are also going to shift. So in that sense, it's still all the same. It's just a slightly different approach to it. Like I said, again, there's more than one way that leads to Rome, as long as you end up in Rome. That's the most important thing. You don't want to somewhere in Greece or something. So here I'm doing the half pass in canter as well. So in this case, he bends easy to the left, but that right hind leg is the one that needs to strengthen more, because generally places that outside of the mass. So here again too, instead of moving his hind quarters a bit out and carrying more weight on that right inside leg, he'd rather keep his haunches in here, and kind of leave that inside hind leg kind of out of the equation. Let's put it that way. So when the horses, when they haven't been ridden, and gymnasticized as much at a higher level, it is hard though to get them when you're riding with one hand to look to the right, to look to the left easily. Because normally, what you would do is you use your inside leg, lots of inside leg in this case, which I'm trying to do. I don't have a strong enough leg without spurs. And your hand. So in this case, I would move my hand to the outside, to the left. I'm going to the right, so this kind of explains, a lot of people have a misconception about riding with one hand with Doma Vaquera. We do not neck rein. Neck rein is a bad word in Doma Vaquera. We really ride with our legs, with our weight aids, and when we want to say go to the left, our hand moves to the right, because we're basically, by doing so, we kind of engage that inner rein and encourage our horse to look in the direction we're going. So we're not, if you were riding with one hand, here I'm doing I'm trying to doing a little bit of trafer on the circle, but because he can do a pirouette and canter, he starts slowing down a lot. And then he thinks you want to do a pirouette, so then I make him go forward again. Later I'll actually do a pirouette. So then I do some trafer along the side again. So when you steer, if you had two reins, you would use your inside rein a little bit to get that curvation, I guess, through the body. But of course, you're using your outside rein from your inside leg to your outside rein. So that's why, even though in this case, now my hand's going a little bit to the right because I'm trying to get him to look to the left, but I'm also using my left leg to curve, to make him bend around that leg. In this case, my right leg, I want him to bend around my right leg, but to encourage him to look a little bit more to the right, I can move my hand to the left, to get him looking in the direction that I want him to. So of course, after you work a little, you give a long rein, you let them relax, just like you would do in dressage, and then you pick them up again, and you go on to the next. Like I said, most of the stuff I wanted to do some advanced exercises with Latino, which I also did, but really trying to get him to bend more and kind of, I would almost want to do some what I call horse yoga. So here I'm doing a pirouette around the hindquarters in canter. What I notice now when I watch myself is, and I realize what Antonio told me while I was there, is that I need to go faster. So I need more momentum. And there you saw he slowed down. And again, I didn't have my spurs, so I just lose that momentum. I don't have enough power in my legs with him to keep him going. Um, but yeah, I need to get more momentum in canter because the Doma Vaquera canter is not that super slow collected canter. There's this momentum going. It's a real working canter. So even though they do these exercises like the pirouettes, you still have to have enough of momentum. And in the pirouettes, they swing around more. If you watch the videos of the competitions, you'll see more momentum, really swinging around their hindquarters more. So it's good. Yeah, he was doing that this time, giving some kicks when we did flying changes. I'll talk about that in a minute. So yeah, you want to get more momentum. So now I actually see what Antonio meant. Of course, he was right in any case, but so it's so much more powerful to actually see yourself on video. And they say it actually accelerates your learning by 3 times. Here I just tried a pirouette again, trying to keep him. I lose him again. Try to keep him moving around that inside leg. Obviously, his right side. His right hind leg is a little bit, like I said, a little bit more weak, so that was a little bit more difficult. So as mentioned, I was there with my mom and my son, which was really fun, and he always rides with me. When I ride Isolda, he's always allowed to warm up with me, and then I say, okay, now you have to get off, and now I'm going to ride Isolda. Now I have to train her, so now I have to get off, and when I'm done, we'll do cooling down, and then you can get on again. So of course he wanted to ride with me when we were there too, and I told him he could. I asked Antonio if it was okay with Latino. And Latino, little children can ride him even alone if you have to. So he said, of course, that's fine. So we had a little ride. This was actually the last day before I went, actually did some training with him. And he loved that because Latino, he's much bigger than Isolda is, so that was pretty cool actually. To get him on there as well. I got a little picture of us in the mirror. I should have asked my mom actually to take a picture. Stupid me. So as you can see, he quite liked that. And I also rode 2 other horses. You'll see in a minute a brown horse, a 6-year-old, and then another young mare, around 4-year-old. And he wanted to ride those too, but they weren't quite as predictable as Latino is. So we said, nah, maybe that's not such a good idea. So like I said, I rode 3 horses. This was the another one. This is, let me think. This was also a 3-blood, a Tres Sangres. Andalusian, Arabian, and thoroughbred mix. He's 6 years old. The other mare I rode was 4, almost 5. Big mare. This horse was quite small, and she's quite nice. I mean, she's the horse that we took last time we did. We went to the countryside. There, I'm checking out my camera, trying to see if it's working, because every time I installed it, something went wrong. You can also see it's out of whack. It's not level with the ground. So yeah, I didn't get any images of the other mare because I had my camera installed, all set up. And then maybe if you saw earlier that white van that was standing there delivering some straw and everything. Apparently if there's a metal object or an object in between the sensors and the camera, it kind of screws up the whole thing. So that totally screwed up everything. And then when I was actually riding, it wasn't tracking anymore. So I didn't get any images of that. And then the second day I actually rode outside because there were lessons going on. So that was a bloody shame, actually. So this little horse, he was funny. He was a quick horse initially when you get on him. The other mare, I had to lunge her first because just to take the edge off. She's quite strong, but she was really sweet with me. So the second day, I didn't even lunge her. But this guy, he was real quick at first. So the first day I rode him, he was like I'm used to, actually, like Isolda is. Latino, he's a totally different horse than Isolda. This one's smaller and quicker and real alert and everything. But I've noticed that there's actually, it seems like there's two types of Doma Vaquera horses in Spain, and I could be wrong, so I have to ask Antonio next time. Um, so if you see the horses for sale as well, you have to pay attention. Just because they're ridden Doma Vaquera and they look really cool on the pictures with their arched necks and all, riding with one hand, that doesn't say much necessarily. Because there's horses like Latino that are fully trained, advanced, amazing horses that can do all the exercises that are required in competition. And then there's horses like this horse. I don't even know his name actually, but I mean, I'm assuming maybe he's still being trained. But in any case, there's a lot of horses that I call Rocio horses, or Rocio, which are used for the Rocios in Spain, which are kind of like, I guess you could compare it to parades in America, but they're more religious because they're built around religious days that are held in almost every town has one. It's a certain weekend, usually around beginning of the summer, and they go through the streets with their oxen, the big oxen in the carts, and they. Oh, there Antonio sprayed my camera. He was spraying and cleaning everything, and he sprayed my camera. I thought I was gonna die. There's a big old water drop right there. Thank God it didn't break it or anything. So I'm eyeing my camera to see if it's okay. I just bought it. Anyway, so yeah, there's two types of horses. So there's that second horse that is really used for the Rocío, and people, these horses can't really do much. So here I already noticed again, this horse is, doesn't bend to the right. So here I'm trying to get him to leg yield and bend around my inside leg. He was kind of, not very used to that. And then I want to get a half pass out of him. Again, bending to the right, but I have to use a lot of leg, and actually I'm using my rein to the left to get him to look to the right. He was not having anything to do with that. He was like, "What the hell do you mean? I do not bend to the right at all. They don't require that for Theo." So I just have to walk in a straight line in the streets, following these oxen with their carts and with their Holy Maria statues. And my owner, well, I'm assuming not necessarily him, but in a lot of cases, the owners, they sit on their horses and they have sherry and drink, and it's super fun, by the way. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it, the whole culture. But the horses don't really have to do much, and they don't need to be, bending to the left and the right. They just need to be able to go straight, and you can steer them with your leg aids, which is what he absolutely does. But I want, more finesse out of the horse. So here again, I was doing leg yielding and then, half passing to the left. But even though he bends easier to the left, he wouldn't have anything to do with that either. He was like, "What the hell do you mean? Actually, bend through my body." And in canter, he had an okay canter, but as I see the images, I think, here too, I should have gotten more momentum. I'd like to see him stepping more behind. He's kind of daisy cutting a little bit there, not picking up his hind legs. I'd almost say he's. I want him more on his hindquarters. I wouldn't go as far as to say he's really on his forehand, but actually, I would want him more on his hindquarters. Because he wasn't heavy in my hand, not really. But if I see this, I think, no, I want him more in my hindquarters. Next time if I go and I'm asked to ride him, then I'll do some more tempo changes. I'll get him on his hindquarters more, and canter, doing some more lateral movements, more half pass, some trafair, and really getting him to sit more on his hindquarters behind. Ooh, the Pixio swings into the corner. Apparently I went too fast. But still, like I said, I think I would like to see him sit back more and use his hindquarters, his hind legs more under his body, and really stepping through. Here on the left, like I said, he's much easier. He was easier to bend. He's a left bent horse. That's his hollow side. But still, I would also, ask him to carry, as he gets more on his hindquarters, I would ask him to carry himself a little bit higher, uh, depending on, since he's 6 years old, and depending on exactly, what training he has, which I don't know. I mean, when I get on these horses, the only indication for me, what they can do or how they are, is whether I have to lunge them or not first. Because when you have to lunge them first, then okay, this one's got a little bit of fire somewhere. So otherwise, if you don't, then they're fine, and they're okay. But I never know. It's kind of guessing. I almost have to look at their teeth and see how old they are. This one, I thought he was around 5, because since he couldn't do much. There's my son again, coming to see me. He had found a pepper that looked like a froggy, so he came to tell me that. And then my mom joined him as well. Uh, he quite liked it. Well, first he kept on asking, "When are we going home? When are we going home?" And then when we went back, now he keeps saying, "Oh, when are we going back to Spain?" And he had a great time with Antonio's grandson, Antonito, and everything as well. So it was really fun to take them so they could see what I actually do, because every time, I go every month. I go to train, and I tell my son, I have to go. I'm going to train in Spain, and he doesn't know, what that means, or who I'm with, or where I am, and he knows what it means to train horses and everything. Obviously, when I ride, he sold on my mare. But it was nice that he could see where we were. You see those windows there at the back? That's actually Antonio's house, and those windows on the left there, behind there, there's a little apartment. So nowadays I stay there, which is amazing. I'm so grateful for Antonio. He's the best trainer and the best possible person to know, actually. So I'll be back in a couple weeks. I hope you enjoyed that. More riding, less talking, lots of talking, but you can still see all the riding. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and hope to see you next time. Thanks a lot.